Taxi 12s, highly anticipated, but were they underappreciated? Everybody said the rare Air 11s weren't gonna sell out and they were all going for the Taxi 12s. But then the opposite happened. Either way, I got my pair and I'm excited to unbox these and show you guys a look at the shoe. Oh yeah, and if you didn't know by now, my name is DJ and this is the DNA Show. So as you can see from this box right here, classic to your OG style. This is one thing that I really love in how they executed this. So typically we've been seeing this more and more on a lot of these retros, whether it's the Jordan 12 or other models. And on previous 12 retros, they gave us that OG style box, but it had the Jumpman branding here on the top of the lid, on the front and the back side. And these actually have that Nike branding similar to the original. Besides that, you're gonna have a hinge lid with the orange border. You're gonna have a Just Do It branding here on the side, and then on the back side of the box, you'll see it's all black with a text that reads engineered and built to the exact specifications of championship athletes from around the world. And this is going to be something similar to the Air Jordan 11, which we will get into how they shows kind of nods to that. And then looking at the size tag, it reads Air Jordan 12 retro white black taxi size 13 just for me. And retail on these was $210. Now lifting open the lid, you're going to notice you have a cream like paper compared to that white paper that we typically get, or the black kind of plasticky paper that we'll get depending on the models. And then peeling that back, you got the shoe. Oh, you got the shoe. Now we'll be taking this 2025 retro and comparing them against the original pair in a completely separate view, because I really want to break down all the differences between the two. A lot of people say that, oh, they're the same like the OGs, but trust me, there's a lot of small detail and differences and changes over the years, especially with the history of all the other retros. Speaking of that, let's get into the history and then we'll break down this 2025 retro. Back in 1996-97, we saw the Air Jordan 12 hit the scene, and Michael Jordan was also on track to win his 5th championship. During this time, there were 5 original colorways: the Taxi, the Playoff, the Cherry, the Black and Red, also known as the Flu Games, and the Obsidians. After that era of retros, we then saw multiple retro iterations come out, and just to highlight a few, the Flint Grays, the Nubucks, whew, those were legendary. But on track with the Taxis in particular, back in 2008, we got our first retro of the Taxi Air Jordan 12 in the CDP 11 and 12 pack. In my personal opinion, that is still the greatest retro of the Air Jordan Taxi 12 to this day. And after that, we got a retro of the Taxi 12 again in 2013. Remember guys, during 2013 to 2016, that was the era of Jordan Brand making bad versions of shoes. The materials weren't good, the shapes weren't good, everything was just kind of wonky. So yes, people were able to get their hands on the shoe, but at the same time, they just weren't that good quality. Since then, it has been over 10 years and there has been a lot of anticipation of a retro, and now we finally have it in 2025. We also can't forget to mention the low top versions and the other iterations, which again, I'll go over those in the history video with the breakdown of all the other retros. But for now, that should definitely get you guys caught up if you didn't know about those previous pairs. Yo, DNA fam, I know you guys are into sneakers, so I'm gonna assume that you're into investing as well, which means you're probably also interested in leveling up your life. I think you definitely need to check this out. I just launched my DNA Show community on School, and it's totally free to join, by the way. Inside, I've dropped my entire Hobby to Hustle program. It used to be $99 a month, and I've helped tons of people turn their passions into profit with this course. And now I want to give it away 100% free just for the community members. This is going to be a place where sneakerheads can connect, share game, and grow together. So don't wait, hit the link down below in the description to get instant access to the Hobby to Hustle course today. And I'll see you guys on the inside so we can run it up. Starting with the outsole, you're going to notice you have a mixture of a couple of different colors and textures, should we say. So we have a carbon fiber shank plate exposed right here in the center of the foot, and it's going to have that Taxi yellow with the black print on that. And then on the inside of the two pods, you got your herringbone traction pattern, classic to the Air Jordan 12. One touch that I really love about these in particular is the Jumpman on the front of the toe and the small 23 with the yellow hit. I love this because the ball actually runs up to the front of the toe here, and it's not only just visible on the outsole, but you can see it from the front of the foot. Going up to the midsole, you're going to notice you have a Phylon material. On the back end, it's going to be all white, and on the front end, it's going to be all black, textured similar to that mud guard area. Going to the upper, this is going to be, again, something that I really want to compare to the original, but for the most part, I'm going to say the quality of the leather is solid. The cuts and the shape is a little bit weird to me still to this day, and again, you'll see what I'm talking about compared to the OG. And the reason why I say that is it's a lot more slim right here on the front end of the foot. Some people say, oh, it's because it's laced up. Again, as you can see from the on foot videos, it still looks good on foot. There's nothing wrong with it at the end of the day. But when we're talking about the OGs and how they cut, especially the 12s and the 13s in particular, and even how you guys have noticed with the Air Jordan 11s how it has a slimmer cut or the higher cut, it just was a lot bulkier and bigger on the older pairs from the past. And that is something that I had always loved because I like that chunky 90s look. Now besides that, you're gonna have a white stitch all throughout the upper, kind of giving you that sunrise vibe, similar to the Rising Sun Air Jordan 12s, which that was inspired by the Japanese flag with the sun rising. And going to the center of the foot, you're gonna notice you have a set of white rope laces. Now these are kind of similar to the Air Jordan 11 laces, but they're a little bit skinnier when it comes to the rope laces. You'll also notice that you have that same tumbled leather here going throughout the center of the tongue, with your 2 spelled out in letters and your 3 in a number, and a black Jumpman stitch here in the top of the tongue. Another cool feature that I love about the Air Jordan 12s, which makes these very, very comfortable and very snug, and then also loose and just form fitting really well to the foot, is you have this mesh that goes on the side of the tongue on the inside, and then there's an elastic band that goes on the inside as well that keeps the foot locked down, which creates a very good comfort even if you don't have the shoes laced up and tied up all the way. Another dope hit that everybody loves about the Air Jordan 12s, especially when it comes to the taxis, is going to be that gold eye stays here at the top with the Jumpman branding on them. And then on the top of the collar, you're going to notice you have your all black material on that and behind the tongue. And on the inside of the shoe, you're going to see that you have a black sock liner with a red Jumpman. Now, again, shortly quick history part. If you guys remember, during this time, Jordan Brand was becoming its own entity and actually becoming Jordan Brand and kind of separating itself from Nike. So instead of having the Nike Air branding on the inside of the sock liners, they switched over to having Jumpman branding on the inside of the sock liners. So even looking at the original pair, you'll notice that those also have a red Jumpman on there compared to a Nike Air branding like we saw in the Air Jordan 11s. So I like how they kept that consistency on the sock liner as well, giving us that red Jumpman. Now before we go into the back end of the shoe, you know we got to talk about this Jumpman piece right here on the side. This is something that ages and cracks over the years. People replace this piece, but it has always been a dope piece to the Air Jordan 12 and everybody has loved it. So you'll notice you have your Jordan branding here on the outside of the foot, and then on the inside of the foot you have a similar tab but no branding on that. Now going to the back end of the foot, similar like I talked about with the Air Jordan 11s, we have that same thing here with the quality inspired by the greatest player ever patch. Now this was on the back end of the tongue of the Air Jordan 11s, not exactly the same, but you can see kind of how they evolved it from the Air Jordan 11 then going to the Air Jordan 12. Another cool touch is going to be that gray text with the Jordan branding here on the side going vertically, and then you have the red box around it with the yellow taxi square and the red Jumpman in the center of that with your pop of 23 in red right here. Now you can see my original pair, they're a little old and beat up, they've been around the block a couple times, but either way it's still classic to the original. And again, don't worry, I will be making a full comparison of the new retro versus the original because not a lot of people have ever seen these actually in person or gotten detailed shots of them to really understand the differences between the two. So I want to make sure you guys have a full understanding of where it came from and where it's at today. Now besides that, my personal opinions, I think this 2025 retro is a really solid release. Now I still think the CDP pack is the best, the 2025 is next best, the 2013 is the worst, and the original it's hard to beat. If it was still wearable and the way it was executed was still like that, it's literally the best pair out there. The quality, the comfort, the shape, everything was immaculate. I vividly remember wearing these when I was a kid and was also able to get them again and rock them as a young adult, and the comfort is unmatched. Now don't get me wrong, this pair does come with a Dream Cell insole and I did try these on and they feel pretty good. The Air Jordan 12 is pretty comfortable no matter which type of era and generation. Again, the 2013 yeah, those were pretty stiff. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. Now you guys know I always love to see your thoughts as well, so please share them in the comment section, and also if you haven't already, make sure you follow me on Instagram so you can participate in the polls and see all the results here on the channel. Let's see what the people say. 89% of the people chose fire and 11% of the people chose trash. Again, these check a lot of boxes. People haven't had a chance to get these in over 10 years. People want to get them for the first time. They're affordable, they're classic, they go with everything. You just can't go wrong with the shoe. I understand these poll results, and that's kind of close to my 8.5 out of 10, right? That's an 8.9 out of 10. So I feel like I'm on track as well with what everybody else is thinking. Did you buy this pair? Are you waiting for them to go on sale? Were you surprised that they didn't sell out? Was the hype false? What's going on with the market and the economy? Is that the reason why? But at the same time, other shoes are selling out and selling for thousands of dollars, so you can't say that every shoe is dead. What is exactly the narrative that you have set behind this shoe? All right, y'all, stay tuned for that OG review. I'll see you in another one.
I would never let you down.
Hey, just a quick reminder, again, the link is down below in the description to join the community if you have not already. I'm giving away the entire Hobby to Hustle program for free, only to members. So you got to sign up and get in. Again, everything is free. You don't have nothing to pay for. It's all going to be inside. You're going to love it. Trust me, I've helped hundreds of people with this. I cannot wait to help you as well.
It's in my DNA. The only choice I like to make, what I'ma wear today. I would never let you down. It's in my DNA. The only choice I like to make, what I'ma wear today. I was made for it. It's in the